So the government's day in the sun over the so-called once-in-a-generation health reform report got overshadowed by the fact the Ministry of Health hasn't been doing their job. 2 women leave quarantine without being tested, drive half the length of the country. When they're tested, they're positive. Health Minister David Clark's with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
So whose doorstep does this cock-up sit at?
Well, I think that this is a system failure. I've requested that we suspend compassionate exemptions. We've got to find out exactly what went on here so we make sure it doesn't happen again. It falls short of my expectations. It falls short of what New Zealanders would expect. We want people to be able to visit their dying or deceased relatives, but we can't do that if we don't have confidence the system is working as it should.
Why wasn't there a simple instruction that said no one leaves this place until they're tested negative?
Well, that was my understanding of what would be happening.
Who told you that?
I'm very disappointed that that is not what's happened. Well, the Ministry of Health indicated...
but who? The whole ministry doesn't ring you. Who from the ministry do you deal with?
We had advice, and the Director-General
So
gave
that's
me
Ashley.
confidence.
So did Ashley personally tell you that nobody leaves that facility unless they're testing negative?
Look, my understanding, that was certainly my understanding.
This is Ashley's fault, isn't it? Ashley's in charge. Ashley let us down. Ashley needs to go.
Frankly, I'm not interested in a witch hunt. I want this to be fixed, Mike, and that's why I want this thoroughly investigated, and I want to make sure the system is working.
Why isn't anyone in your government interested in holding anybody to account? Why does no one get sacked?
Oh, look, I've certainly been demoted, Mike. That's been
but you weren't sacked, and you were one of the biggest offenders. Ashley's not getting sacked. Lise Galloway hasn't been sacked. Twyford hasn't been sacked. Curran wasn't sacked. No one gets sacked. You can be incompetent to beat the band, and no one loses their job or is held to account. How come that is?
Mike, that's not my call. I could argue those different ones.
Well, isn't this your call in Ashley's case? You're in charge of Ashley, aren't you?
Look, I am interested in making sure the system works. I think that's what New Zealanders would expect. We have a system here which was very clear around having rare and rigorous exemptions regime. I expected people to be tested negative. I certainly expected that people would go through a thorough check before they left the facility.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't. We all know that now.
They did not.
What New Zealanders are interested in is competency, and we don't have any. Why not?
Oh, look, Mike, I don't think that's quite right.
You don't think this is incompetent?
We're one of the few countries in the world that has managed to stamp out COVID.
Well, we haven't stamped it out at all. What are you talking about? We're talking the very reason you're on this program this morning is there are 2 people got out of this facility positive that shouldn't have been. Why don't we have competency?
I am very frustrated and disappointed that we are where we are. New Zealanders have sacrificed a huge deal to have a situation where we don't have community transmission of COVID. We are in a good position here, Mike, because we know all of the contacts of these people. We have very good records.
Irrelevant.
And we
Shouldn't
will
have been out.
Track this down.
Shouldn't have been out. Shouldn't have been let go.
I agree with you more, Mike. That's why I acted very quickly to suspend this system until we have confidence in it.
When did you last talk to Ashley about this case?
I talked to Ashley Bloomfield last night about this when I was talking about us.
And when you said, I'm coming on the radio tomorrow morning to defend this mess, how did it happen? What did he say to you?
I said, well, I told him that I wanted the suspension immediately and I would reinstate it once we had confidence in the system. I think it's pretty clear that I am unhappy with the situation and that I want this fixed immediately.
But you at any point in the conversation, David, go, Ashley, what the hell happened?
Oh, certainly, Mike.
And what did he say?
I have expressed my frustration.
Yeah, what did he say?
Look, the Director-General is absolutely committed to putting this right.
What did he say?
Mike, I'm not going to go into the details of that conversation.
Did he say something like, I don't know, or I wouldn't have a clue? Or...
No, he knew, of course, the detail around when the person had left, what was happening to follow up. And he had a very clear message from me that this was going to be suspended until we had confidence the system was working.
But isn't that the sadness of this, though, David? You've got people there through no fault of their own want to see loved ones, and under normal circumstances would be able to see their loved ones if it wasn't for the idiots running the ministry.
I absolutely agree that we're in a very sad situation for these people. This is a terrible situation to be in at the best of times, losing a loved one, and I think that's why it needs to be fixed and fixed quickly.
Yeah, but this is not hard. All you do is just say literally no one leaves the building without getting tested, which is what should have been happening in the first place. What people are more interested in is how come nobody is held accountable to this. Because
Well,
fixing
Mike,
this
I
is not
think-
hard. You just
I
issue
think-
an instruction, put out a memo, write an email, stick a sign on the wall, do anything you like. No one leaves the building without testing negative.
Respectfully disagree with that, Mike. I think that has to happen, and there's more. I actually think we need a thorough medical check when people are leaving. I don't think that just testing is enough, because we know that people return false negatives early in the disease. We actually need we need assurance that proper interviews are being done as well. We need assurance that there's PPE. We need everybody who leaves the facility like that, even in a compassionate situation, treated as though they have COVID, so that all of the appropriate steps are taken to make sure there is no risk of community transmission.
So
we need a
outside
watertight order.
of fixing this and making it better, no one's going to be held to account. This is just yet another cock-up from the government where people sail through and out the other side and everyone hopes we forget.
Mike, I think in context, we are in a position that is the envy of the world. We need a world-class system.
But we don't have one. Didn't have it in self-isolation, don't have it in quarantine. Why would it change now?
This has fallen far short of my expectations.
Yeah, we know that.
That's why I am disappointed and frustrated. I want it fixed, Mike. That's my first priority.
And once you've got it fixed, will you ever hold anybody to account for anything at all?
Mike, certainly there will be consequences if it's found that people have failed in their duty.
Well, we know they have. So there will be consequences. You can assure us of that.
Yep, I'm quite certain that those people who have made this mistake will not be making it again.
Good, and that includes Ashley.
Certainly, this is an error that we do not want repeated.
Appreciate your time, David Clark, the Health Minister.